Good evening, everyone. This is Max Hampton, and you're listening to another installment of Up Close with Max Hampton. Today's guest is a legend in the anime realm. He's the big green guy in Dragon Ball Z. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Piccolo.
It's a pleasure to be here, Max. Thank you for the invite.
Well, Piccolo, everybody's been a big fan of yours for years, and what we wanted to talk about today was the background of Piccolo and a little bit about what you've been doing before, during, and after your career in Dragon Ball Z.
Well, a lot of people think that Dragon Ball Z is over, but what they fail to realize is that there's video games and there's special movies and promotions that I get to be a part of. So Piccolo hasn't really gone anywhere in the past 20 years or so. And as for before Dragon Ball Z, what I was doing was I was actually a personal trainer. I worked down at Dolphin's gym, and I was a personal trainer. I didn't do anything crazy, and somebody heard my voice and saw my look. They thought I was interesting, and it was actually Akira Toriyama. He doesn't like me to drop his name, but that's the truth. And Akira saw me. He says, wow, I could really use this guy. He's pretty impressive, and I'm actually looking for a villain for Dragon Ball, because at the time, that's when I made my debut on the screen. So being the villain of Dragon Ball during the World Tournament Saga was very fun, and it got my foot in the door. That's where I met Kami, and I realized that there's other green people in the world just like myself, that I'm not the only one. And then that trip to Namek was incredible. During the show, we actually went to Namek, and I have to tell you, to see where I came from and to see where I was supposed to be growing up and, being on Earth, it was just a real eye-opener for me, and actually led for me to start donating some money back home, because unfortunately Namek has been bombarded with attack after attack. This goes further back than the Frieza saga, and in addition, the planet has 3 different suns, so the Namekian people never get a break from the sunlight. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create artificial night on Namek. So, not to plug anything in here, Max, but if you could please donate on www.savenamek.org and donate whatever you can, it would be much appreciated, and the Namekian people would thank you for it.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Piccolo. That sounds like a very honorable cause. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, that website is www.savenamek.org, and you could donate using your PayPal or Visa card, whichever is more convenient for you. On to our next question, Piccolo. When you were in Dragon Ball Z, did tensions flare up between you and any other characters? Were there certain characters that you got along with well, that you didn't get along with too well, or that may have been misrepresented on the show compared to how they really were in real life?
Oh man, that question is that's one I've been waiting to answer for a long time. Me and Vegeta never saw eye to eye. That guy was just, I think he was out to get me from day one. He just didn't like me, and it's funny because I was on the show before him, and then he does the Saiyan saga, and he's trying to kill me off, and he's trying to say it doesn't make sense to wish the Piccolo character back to life after he sacrifices himself for Gohan. He was talking about how it didn't make sense that I was on King Kai's planet, that I wasn't pure enough to keep my body, and this and that. And I think he just wanted me gone from the show. He really wanted to just scrap me off. And he was actually originally supposed to die himself. He was supposed to die on Earth, and he begged them to stick around for one more season. He'd show him what he's about, and that's what led to his death on Namek. Of course, he wound up, sweet-talking somebody, and he was back, by the end of the saga, back on Earth. So Vegeta definitely was one of the people that rubbed me the wrong way. And a lot of people don't know this, but Goku is actually a prima donna in real life. He's not that sweet when you get to know him up close and personal. He always thinks he's better than you. He doesn't really want to spend any time rehearsing with you or anything. A lot of the times he's just improvising, and, some actors have that skill, and he's one of them, but to say for the most part, he's just not one of the people I would call back or call during Christmas time, if you know what I mean. As for people I like, Gohan was actually one of the few characters that we had an on-screen and off-screen relationship as best friends. Me and Gohan were always getting along, and he respected me. He called me Mr. Piccolo in and out of the camera, and I really admired that young man, and watching him grow up over the years was very, very impressive. It was a real treat. he's actually been helping me and Kami a lot with the Namek program, so, saving Namek and trying to, going back to this, I know, but he's actually had a helping hand in making our mission come to life.
Well, that's really good to hear. It's good to know that not everybody rubbed you the wrong way during the Dragon Ball Z tapings. Now, moving on to a little more fun. Piccolo, your special move during Dragon Ball Z was the Special Beam Canon. That's the move you created to defeat Raditz.
Well, actually, the move was actually intended to defeat Goku, at least in the show. However, instead of using it on Goku, which actually I never got to fight him ever again, things just kept spiraling out of control, and I never got to conquer the world. And I think that had to do with Vegeta's doing also, but that's another story for another time. So the Special Beam Cannon was used on Raditz, but was intended for Goku originally.
I'm sorry about that. That's absolutely right. And speaking of which, would you be able to give us a Special Beam Cannon here in the studio live?
Well, I'd love to, of course. Last week I heard Barney the Dinosaur was singing the I Love You. I mean, why can't I do a Special Beam Cannon? Alright, so here it goes. First, I'm gonna focus my energy. Special Beam Cannon!
Piccolo, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming by. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have another guest. Stay tuned to find out who it is. And you have been listening to Up Close with Max Hampton. Good night, everyone.